Oh, a Cayman. Not even close. I need to see your train tickets. I'm jacked off me ass, SpongeBob.
This is war, Mitchell.
Take this bad Larry all the way down. Welcome, Hoarders. Here to be playing some more Grand Theft Auto Vice City. And today's episode, I'm going to be showing you 10 cars from Vice City that I think should be added to Grand Theft Auto 5 that are currently not available on Grand Theft Auto 5. Now, keep in mind that these vehicles are not in any particular order. I'm just doing them by closest garage first and then so on. But our first vehicle is the Comet. I am aware there are, I believe, 3 or 4 different versions of the Comet on Grand Theft Auto 5. There's the standard one, the Retro Comet, the Safari Comet, and there's one, I think the Comet R or something like that. There's some kind of letter. But those are all more modern Comets. Even the Retro Comet is newer than this. The biggest aspect that you can tell that the Retro Comet is newer than this is this one has the full rear tail light. I'll actually stop here, let us actually look around it, and it's the only one that has a no roof on it. For starters, I wish there was a better free cam on this, but you can definitely tell that this is different from the other Comets that are in Grand Theft Auto 5. On to our second pick. The vehicle I picked for the second pick is the Walton. Also, I didn't realize most of the vehicles in this game don't have like bravado or like there's no brand name. It's just car. That's it. But the Walton, you may recognize it. Wow, I didn't even think I hit anything. You may recognize it from Grand Theft Auto San Andreas, where like the more rural areas you'll see these. But there's nothing like this. Like there's no farm trucks basically in Grand Theft Auto 5 really similar to this. I'd say the closest thing would have to be either the Slam Van or the Rat Truck, but those are more like lowrider type trucks than they are like an older work truck. The third vehicle I picked was the Esperanto. There's a couple similar vehicles on there, like the Chino and the what is it now? The Virgo. They're close to looking like this, but this is supposed to be based on a Cadillac Eldorado. That's why Esperanto's the name. It's very, very close, even just saying it. And there's not really that many other cars like this. Like especially the front of it. I guess the classic version of the Virgo could pass as being this, but the rear is just so much different. Like I said before I was so rudely interrupted, there's nothing that really has like the taillight fins and stuff like this does, which is one of the main reasons why I don't consider the Virgo to be the GTA 5 version of this. For my fourth pick, I decided to go with the Oceanic. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. There is one vehicle in Grand Theft Auto that I consider similar to this, mostly just because of the rear, and that's basically it. Because this, you can also tell, is a bit longer. On Grand Theft Auto 5, it would be the Tornado, but on here, it's the Oceanic, and it is, wow, it is dissimilar enough, if that's a word, that I feel this could be its own thing in Grand Theft Auto 5. Because if you really look at it, gotta get out, get a little bit better visuals. It's like one of the only cars that have, one, the mirrors on the hood, The grill of it is so different from anything else in Grand Theft Auto 5. It's got the dog dish wheels like most cars in Vice City have. Vice City, they didn't really change up the rims all that much. Like right there, same rims. Most vehicles that are supposed to be based on 50s vehicles in this game have the dog dish rims. But this, it's just such an iconic car for me that I do think it could be its own thing. Like among the Tornado. For number 5, I decided to go with the Bobcat. This one I would have to say I'm a little more biased towards, just because I own a 1989 S10 in real life, and it's such a great truck. And this is also on Grand Theft Auto San Andreas, but there's no square body S10s. Actually, there's no S10s in general on GTA 5, but there's definitely no square bodies, and they have such a great look to them. My 6th and 7th pick kind of go together, but I am going to do them as their own separate things, because they're basically the same vehicle, just with different names. This one being the Landstalker. Very, very different from the ones in Grand Theft Auto 5 and 4. Because 5, they just recently added another new version of this truck, based on an S10 Blazer. It is again, this one, though, the front end does look a lot more like an S10 than the Bobcat does, but they're still relatively the same vehicle. Except, obviously, one is an SUV, the other's a truck. Okay, my 7th pick is actually upstairs. This one is the Landstalker. You actually can only unlock this if you do the 3rd sheet of cars, like the car list down by the garage on here. Damn, I saved to try to get it to be closer to daytime, but this uses the body of the Landstalker to make basically a monster truck. I want to go over here in a field, make it look a little bit better, because you can't really adjust the camera much with that. But this, I absolutely love this truck. I know there is a Sand King in Grand Theft Auto 5. There's actually 2 versions of it. The short wheelbase and then the standard one, which is the huge one with 4 doors. Obviously, that's a truck. This is an SUV again, but I would like to see like the Sand King Classic or something like that. And there's also a different version of the Sand King on Grand Theft Auto San Andreas, though, that's also different from this. So if they could do, I don't know, both and have even different names to try to keep them separated from each other, that would be great. For my 8th pick, I decided to go with the Stinger. I am aware there is a Stinger in Grand Theft Auto 5. However, this one is so different looking that I consider this to be its own thing and based off a completely different car. I'm not actually sure what this is based on. I wish I could get a better view. There we go. Of the front of this. The front is so different from the one in Grand Theft Auto 5. They do have the Stinger and the Stinger GT. I actually believe it's Stinger topless. You can actually, yeah, you can get a soft top on it also if you want. But the rear, the hood, the rear, the front, and the sides, like, this is a completely different car from the Stinger in GTA 5. My 9th pick is the Glendale. Thanks for changing lanes. Also, I consider this based on a Chevy Bel Air alongside with the Oceanic, which are similar to the Tornado on Grand Theft Auto 5. But again, they're so different, and they're different years of basically the same car. But there is a Glendale in Grand Theft Auto 5, but it is not anything like this one. That's actually based on an older Mercedes, where, again, as this has a lot of signs of a 57 Bel Air, maybe even a 55, because of the rear wings. The older Bel Airs had taller, thinner wings on the back, except obviously this one, the tail lights aren't on the wing in the same way. They're more on the outside of the wing. But again, I really like this car as its own thing, and it would be very cool to have this added in to Grand Theft Auto 5 as just another vehicle. For my last pick, I decided to go with the Banshee. Now this one, I don't want to say this is going to be a controversial one, really, because obviously it's called the Banshee on here. However, my opinion is that it should be called a Coquette, because it is based off of a C4 Corvette, as I completely destroy it, because I don't want to die. There is no C4 Corvette in Grand Theft Auto 5. They do have multiple Corvettes. I do think it would also be cool to have the C5 Corvette from Grand Theft Auto 4. I've been saying that one for a long time. Because they have, like, the black fin. I forget what the in name. I think it's just a Coquette Classic that is the Stingray. And then they have the C8, and I think that's it. As far... No, they added the C8 recently, and then they had the previous one to that on there. It's just... It's a vehicle that you would think would have been added a very long time ago. But I get they have other things they're working on. All of these vehicles today were just suggestions and ideas that, like, it would be cool for these cars to be added eventually. And if you're wondering about other vehicles that I didn't pick, I scrapped a couple ideas. Because on this list, like right in front of me, I was going to have the Jeep. But the Jeeps that are on there are so similar that I don't really think it would be worth it to, like, for Rockstar to go through and remake it just to add another one where it's so similar to what's already in there. And the same thing, like, the Rancher on here is very, very slightly different. And the same thing with the Regina. The Regina is a bit more different than the other vehicles, mostly stance-wise. But other than that, you can kind of see what they envisioned from this to the ones that they have in Grand Theft Auto 5, because obviously back then, this being a game based in the 80s, all of these cars are older, and obviously the game itself does not have, back when they were making the game in the early 2000s, they didn't really have the technology and graphics to fully 100% make what they were trying to make. Now I would consider that they have basically all they need to get the player to know exactly the vehicle they're talking about. But that is going to be it for this episode. Post down in the comments down below of a vehicle from Vice City that you think that should be added to Grand Theft Auto 5 or even any of the other games. But that is going to be it for this one. Hope you guys enjoyed it, and I will see you in the next one. And if you did enjoy the video, check out one of my previous, next, and related videos, and don't forget to check out my social medias in the description down below.